Hi, today let's have a look a little bit into Dagger Hilt. Dagger Hilt is a dependency injection framework which works with annotations and code generation. I have a very simple application here. All this application does is just showing this hello injected Android over here. We have this app over here which is annotated with Hilt Android app, and then we have mine activity annotated with Android entry point, and we have one field over here that is injected. So this is our dependency that is injected. Let me build it. There we go, everything works. This some injectable class has only one method, get hello, which gets some string, and then this string is basically called over here. So for the greetings composable. And that's how we have our hello injectable Android over here. Now, the question we may have is, how does it happen that this inject annotation actually works? Why this dependency is available and I can call it over here. I just cloned the project, the Dagger project from GitHub, and if you have a look here into the code, there is the Hilt directory, and inside of the Hilt, if you go on and processors, internals, Android entry point, we have the ActivityGenerator class. And this ActivityGenerator class is responsible for, as the name says, creating an Hilt activity class for the Android entry point annotation. So because our mine activity class here is annotated with an Android entry point, what Hilt will do, it will actually generate another Android activity class, and then this mine activity class will be extended by this generated activity. And the activity generator is actually the code that is handling the generation of a new activity. So we have this generate method, and this method over here does two things. First, it copies constructor into a new created class with our builder. So we have a builder which can create a class. With these generators, we can copy constructors, and we can pass also over here an argument which is a code block, and this code block is basically a statement here that will be used. So for every constructor that it will copy, if there is more than one constructor, there will be more constructor, then this statement over here, init Hilt internal method, will be called. Secondly, after that, we also add a method to our builder, so to our new activity class. And here in the init method is basically what happens. We have this method spec, method builder, we call our method init Hilt internal. So you can see that the method that will be called over here in every constructor now is actually created over here. So we have this method, we make it private. After that we add one statement to it, which is add on context available listener. This listener, you can see over here, requires to have one method overridden on context available, and that has a context as a parameter over here. And that's exactly what happens here. So a parameter to this statement is an anonymous class builder, so an anonymous class of type on context available listener, and then we have one method inside which is on context available. This method is overridden from the super type and it's public, and finally it has one parameter context, and it has one statement that is called inside, which is inject, which is also another method that gets generated somewhere below. If you have a look at this documentation here, it basically says you more or less what will be generated with this method. So we have this init, which actually will be init Hilt internal method, and then we have this callback setup over here and inject called inside. When building a project, a lot of things happen. One of them is code generation. So here are all the generated classes for us. For example, our build config over here, where we have, for example, debug, where we can check if we are currently in the debug version of the app, our version code, version name, and so on. But below here, we have all the code generated by Hilt. Let's have a look into Hilt mine activity. So this is the class that got generated with over here this activity generator. And notice that the class is called Hilt underscore mine activity. Basically what they are saying to us over here, that what this generate method will create is an abstract class that will be called Hilt underscore class, and then it will extend a base, which happens over here. It's component activity, because it takes the base over here from the class that we are actually working on. So from my activity, it takes the base, which was in our case over here. It's a component activity. So it just took this component activity and applied it over here. Now here we have two constructors, and then we have this init Hilt internal method over here, which was generated by this init method right here. Then it has all the listener setup and it's calling the inject for us. And the inject method is generated down here. It doesn't do too much. I just checked whether the dependencies were already injected. If not, it just marks that now it is injected. And this method gets a mine activity as a parameter, and then it can finally inject. Now there is one last piece of puzzle that you may be wondering about. How does it happen that this mine activity is extended by this Hilt mine activity? And well, clearly it's not. What happened is, if we just scroll a little bit over here, this comment explains everything. If using the Gradle plugin, which we do in this case, this is swapped as a base class via bytecode transformation. When the app is compiled, then it's compiled to the bytecode, and once it's compiled to bytecode, then bytecode transformation can happen. In other words, we take the compiled bytecode and then we modify, or in this case, Dagger Hilt modifies this and swaps this component activity here with our class that was generated over here, so Hilt mine activity. And thanks to that, we don't have to do it manually. I hope this video helps you understand a little bit how the whole annotation, code generation and injection magic with Dagger and Dagger Hilt works. Maybe in near future I'll make another video explaining a little bit more of how this library works, or another piece of it. Bye bye!